show.
Start that recording.
This is the show.
And start the stream. Welcome to Horsin Around, a dumbass cast. I'm your host, as always, Nick Mercadante, and with me today I have three lovely guests. If you would like to introduce yourselves.
I'm Jack.
I'm Beekman, and I invite you to crack open a cold one.
I don't have cold ones to crack right now. Also, I'm driving later, but I would join you otherwise. And finally,
I'm
Nick
This
Screwdriver.
is Ginger. This is Seltzer.
Yep.
So, we're good.
same person. Oh, yeah, fair enough. Thank you, Jacob. Your introductory is lovely as ever. Anyways, yeah, what's going on, guys? We were just
That's
talking...
your fucking job to figure out. You come up with the topics.
I have some we can talk about, but I
came out hot right out of the gate. I think I gotta calm down.
We got sidetracked before we even started because we were talking about E3 stuff, and then I just was getting mad about this one company who I haven't even managed to scrounge up at this point, and I don't really care to because I don't want to even talk about them. But basically, they spent an hour of E3's time because E3 is so desperate for people to invest in their showtime, just talking about their NFT game. And that spun off to the multi-level marketing scheme, aka Ponzi scheme of Earth 2, which is basically people doing land speculation on a virtual Earth without any game tied to it or something.
Amazing.
Well, there's clearly some sort of game element tied to it, because if you go to like the buy land tab and you click on a bunch of tiles, you can see like resources. So I think there's supposed to be some element of like trading.
Right, but this is like if Baseball, which we covered a couple weeks ago.
I love Baseball.
Yeah, it's that fake baseball game where they just make up rules as they go along. It's like if the currencies in Baseball cost actual money and it was also on the blockchain. And it's just like, yeah, these things look like they have game elements in it, but I don't think they're actually doing anything like yet. And I could be wrong. I'm very much on the surface level of things right now. But to me, it seems like from what the brief amount of research that I have done, this is all just shit that they've thrown together to be like, yeah, there's game elements and there will be more. Just invest in it now because it's going to be the hottest new thing. Without ever actually planning on fleshing anything out, you know? What are these red marks down here? Are these... Oh, these are open. Okay. Nope, never mind. C2 Southern Nations, Ethiopia. Okay. But anyways, yeah, right now I'm showing the Wakanda thing that you dropped into the Horse Around chat. And all of these... Sure. It confused me for a second because these are all different flags, but they're just... I guess you could just pick whatever flag you want, even if it's all under one group TM. So there's like the Southern Nations, there's this group called Panther Island, and then there's a whole bunch of people surrounding it that are under the group title of Wakanda, even though they're using...
Well, I think the Wakanda thing is a separate organization that's decided.
Right, no, all of the names are definitely separate things, but there are, like, Wakanda, next to the Black Panther face image, there's a bunch of different flags that are still represented by, like Wakanda.
What I'm really confused about is, like, what's the actual goal of this game? Clearly there's some element of resource trading. The site has a marketplace. The site has a marketplace for buying and selling tiles.
Yeah.
So can you then, like, cash out your trades? Is this something you could make money on, or is it...
If I had to guess...
Is this a scam?
Money in?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had to guess, the thing is, like, invest now, eventually these in-game resources can be traded with each other, and they're going to have monetary value. But it's not implemented yet, so you're just gonna have to hold on and hope that this thing blows up and totally isn't a money laundering scam, like Beekman has pointed out.
Earth 2 is a Ponzi scheme targeting... Yeah, okay, so that's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's the whole point. You can cash out your land to make money.
Yeah.
Or you can trade your land to make money.
I am curious...
But all of this is irrelevant because there's no actual value to anything. It's literally the value assigned by the game.
Yeah. which is again perfect for a money laundering scheme when you can be like, yeah, these things.
Yeah, so the developers can ensure that literally everybody loses money in the process by devaluing all of the land at a certain point.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. You guys are asking too many questions. Don't you understand that when you put money in, number go up?
Thank you, economics major.
And that's our economics discussion for today.
That's what you,
let's
that's what you think.
The end of it.
Please, I'm begging you. Oh, you cut out the Matt Pack topic. Sad. I don't know.
Yeah, well, if you notice, I wrote a comment that said, this was made in an early morning as part of an existential attack. Please ignore this.
Alright, fair enough. Anyways, I did actually want to talk about something that happened literally like yesterday or 2 days ago. Juneteenth is now a federal holiday, so we all get...
And we're the perfect panel to talk about it, Nick.
Yeah, of course! Hell yeah! Boy dudes! Woo! I don't know. I just thought that was neat, and it's cool. It's an officially recognized federal holiday. I'm curious how... I mean, I guess we could probably just look back and see how other holidays have been dealt with at the time, but I personally, in my life, am curious to see if my employers will just tack on more of the floating, like, time off that they use for all of the other, like, non-mandatory holidays that, like...
Wasn't it a federal holiday? Like, doesn't that imply...
that it's, like, forced time off? I mean, it might. Yeah, I guess that might be the case, but then I'm not sure...
once again, forced time off is a very loose term to use because...
Right.
Federal holidays apply to certain people and other people. Less.
No. Love it when Labor Day has all the grocery stores still open. Very cool. And fast food places.
For the labor
Look, obviously.
I mean, honestly, uh-oh. You've been tricking me. You've fallen right into my trap. I don't know. This is something I've talked about a lot because I know, I mean, especially going to RIT and especially knowing a lot of tech people, there are a lot of people out there who are like, government jobs, that's gross. But in my head, I've always associated government jobs with, no, by law, they legally have to like give you days off and they have to pay you a certain amount. And I'm like, wow, that sounds pretty nice.
Yeah. The stuff you do for the job might be fucking mundane as shit. There are plenty of
problems.
Yeah.
In tech, government jobs have like a specific kind of connotation that's really associated with military stuff, which a lot of people...
Well, hey, look, as someone who worked in the IRS, trust me, they need...
Oh, no, absolutely.
Wherever they can get it.
But in general, government jobs kind of have that association of like...
No, I understand.
Really fucking hard to get fired from.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing.
Which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah,
that's the other thing, is... all the government jobs I've known, and maybe it's just because I come from a family who had a lot of government jobs, namely, I mean, they were more military focused and I'm more civilian focused, but like, I don't know. I remember in 2008, and everyone was like, wow, job security is a real bitch. And I'm like, yeah, that does sound bad. Maybe I should find something that provides me job security. And the US government is like, hey, we have no workers. Please just, all our workers keep leaving for the private sector. Please just come and work for us, please. Yeah. I'm like, sounds good to me, boys.
They are always looking to hire. That is definitely for sure. But most people just don't want to work for the man. It's not in vogue for understandable reasons. But
I don't want to work for the man. Why aren't there enough government workers to support these services? I guess I'll never know.
The cycle continues. Kind of crazy.
It's a real mystery. I mean, the real answer is that those agencies need more funding through taxation in order to
hire the more qualified people.
Well, not just qualified people, just to be able to have the funding in order to entice people. Like, that's the other problem, is like, there's just a lack of information. Like, it's kind of like what Jack said. A lot of these government jobs carry a certain connotation, and that's because the only government agencies that have like a large enough budget to PR like fucking crazy are the military.
The military.
Wow. Crazy.
I've never seen a TV ad from the IRS.
Come work in the IRS today.
You're an army in the IRS. You're an army of what? Wait, are we just reusing old arguments?
It's just clearly a
You, the
voiceover.
proud, the Internal Revenue Service. That doesn't make any sense either.
Oh, yeah. Come work at the IRS today. This is an ad.
Like, look, I got a bias. I worked at the IRS for one summer, but like, come on, guys. They're pretty cool.
I feel like working with the IRS would be pretty okay.
I mean,
the only time it's rough is if you're like an auditor and it's audit season, and you know, and but that goes back to like the IRS does not have enough funding in order to hire all the auditors it needs, as we've seen in the news recently.
I feel like I saw something really recently about the IRS hiring a fuck ton of people.
Well, it is because they're trying to hire a fuck ton of people because it turns out when you put people in government who think that the government can work, they like putting money into the government, and so the IRS is like, well, this is one of the few times we'll probably ever get money, so we gotta fucking go. So
yeah,
understandable.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Next.
We'll see how. I hope it is another step in the right direction for social progress that Juneteenth is being federally recognized. And we all get time. Well, not all.
What do you mean?
We get time off.
It's completely meaningless, Nick.
I don't know.
This is the definition of like performative bullshit.
I guess.
I mean, so I'm gonna push back on. I mean, it is performative, but there's also like, I don't know. I'm someone who does get a little bit like, yes, the actual answer is to implement political change.
Yeah.
But I'm also someone who believes that like symbols do matter.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know, if I was that 94-year-old lady who had been like fucking bashing on the door being like, hey, can you guys like fucking acknowledge like anything, please?
Is that
then like I'm like, okay.
Is that Opal Lee? I'm looking at an article
I think that's
right
her
now.
name.
I think this is
like yes, this does not fix the problem, but I do think that acknowledging the existence allows for people who are actually going to fix the problem to be like, oh shit, it's acknowledged, or like people who didn't have the foreknowledge of like, hey, what's this like thing about? Oh, slavery.
Yeah, like this is something that I will admit I was not very well informed upon until it became news. So like this is good for the fucking average Joes that aren't
like it doesn't solve. I don't know. I go back to a study one of my professors from RT actually did, where she, and once again, this you can't do an apples to apples comparison because it, you know, a study can only really prove as well as what the study is studying, blah blah blah. Yeah, scientific disclaimer here. But like, it was talking about women in politics in India, and they were like, oh shit, India's got a big gender problem. Oh no. How do we do things in order to improve you know, things for women in India? And one of the things is like, what if we just like had women like in politics? Like it was like the quotas argument, and like of like, hey, put some quotas and you have to have a certain number of people. And they were like, I don't know if what the study said in terms of like full outcomes, but it was more about once women saw that there was another woman in politics, they were like, oh shit.
More likely themselves
it is literally possible for me to do this, so I should probably go and do this because shit's fucked and nothing's getting fixed.
Right.
Like, I agree. Like, you should keep pushing.
Yeah.
Like, if there's injustice, you should be like, hey man, this is like fucked. Like, we should really fix this. But I also think that sometimes
take a dub.
And I only say this people on the left because I myself feel like I am a person on the left who can say this about people on the left. And look, as a proud socialist, I know the rules. The only true socialist is one who complains about other socialists. But
based.
It like, I feel like in the left there's also like I understand why they do this because they're like, symbol doesn't really solve the problem. So I understand that aspect. But also like, we shouldn't completely discount symbols. Like, yes, we should have made
We should
Juneteenth
keep
a
doing
holiday.
more. There is certainly
should
still
do
a lot of
more
injustice to handle, but
the Tulsa massacre, like all this stuff. It's like
yeah, I'm certainly not trying to say it's a bad thing, just that it's not
the end all.
The victory people are lying it as.
It's not the,
especially when you consider it was already a holiday in like all but 2 states.
Yeah. It's the what's it called? It's not the racism is no more moment, and I don't think there's gonna be anything. That
but I just know that David Guetta already ended racism. So, like, you know what?
I'm just more on the side of like, I don't know.
Fuck,
some people will be like, we did it. We got Juneteenth a holiday. Let's celebrate this victory. And then people are like, how dare you celebrate this victory? This isn't a victory at all. And I'm like, guys, calm down. They're celebrating this one thing that went right for them. Just if they feel like they want to celebrate it just a little bit, it doesn't mean that they're like, we did it, boys. We wrapped it up.
Yeah. There is more work to be done for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Just thought I'd touch on that. I also recently have started watching a certain movie series that is getting its 9th installment in the coming weeks.
I can't believe I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah. Wait, what? You didn't know that Fast 9 was coming out?
I didn't know Fast 9 was coming out.
I thought you were saying about him watching the Fast 9.
Oh, no.
How have you not heard about Fast 9?
What Nick watches in his free time.
Remember when John Cena actually said, no, I'm not going to... I can so easily derail this into a discussion.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But yeah,
I did not realize that was Fast 9 related.
Yeah, Fast 9 is coming to theaters, and funny enough, the whole reason it wasn't just Fast 9, like, it's specifically that Fast 9 is getting a sneak peek to Jurassic World Dominion that finally pushed me over the edge to be like, I need to watch these movies so I can watch Fast 9 when it comes out. And we're 3 in so far, so we're a third of the way through the series at this point, if we're including Fast 9 when it comes out. And it just... I don't know, watching it, I watched it with Beekman and a few others over the past week. Got through the first 3 in like the past week or so. And it's just really struck me that I feel like this is a movie, I think the way I sort of quoted it in the topics list is pretty accurate to how I feel about it. It's just like, it's sort of weirdly grandfathered into pop culture just by like almost sheer will of both like the studios and Vin Diesel continuously funding the projects, like at least until it really started to pop off, like Fast 5 and onwards.
Well, I mean, those movies always did well.
Yeah,
like they were pretty good. I mean, you know, but like they were
I would
good,
say
especially
it's actually adapted really well.
Because like at the beginning, like Paul Walker and Vin Diesel were not like particularly
huge
expensive actors,
right,
to cast, you know, so it's like
I would say the movies have done a good job kind of adapting to what people want to see too.
Like the first 3 movies are very much about car culture, like the specific subculture of the time.
Yeah.
When did Fast and Tokyo Drift came out? Like 2006, which is sort of really the tail end of that sort of.
And Tokyo Drift is like the last movie I want to say that really. Kind of goes hard on the cars.
I mean, there are car stuff in all of them, but like the
later
movies
they're all
more,
car adjacent. They're all spy movies, basically.
Yeah, they're all spy movies.
Which I'm okay with.
But there's spy movies, but then like the later ones even still are like pitch themselves almost as like. It's kind of what you were saying. The Fast and Furious franchise has survived by being incredibly adaptable to its surroundings.
Yeah.
And like the later entries are, I don't know how Fast 9's going to be, but it kind of feels like it's in there. But like the Fast and Furious franchise recently has been like, superheroes are hot. All right, we're going to pitch these as almost like superhero movies with like big budget stars. And
I want The Rock to beat the shit out of Brazilians.
Brought to you by Hobbs and Shaw, exactly.
I guess what I mean is like I can't imagine somebody going to try and pitch like, even if you started with like Fast 5 as being like the thing that you were going to start to pitch a series with, I don't know if that would make it like as just like walking to a pitch room in the current year, you know? It just seems like something that hit at a very specific time and was able to maintain itself on this Cars aspect, and then like you guys are saying, I guess it's been able to adapt and like hold on to its niche of still having cars as like sort of vehicular stunts, I guess is more accurate, as like a focus of the action of the film. But then it takes that core and then throws in the other more popular tropes of the current era.
I mean, I think what would define this era is like, superhero movies are very popular, but you know, I think there are I mean, look at John Wick, which is a similar thing. Of you have this first movie that is a very sort of simple concept.
Yeah.
And then they do sequels. Although I think John Wick has, and this is the key word I think I'm going to think is mythologies are very popular right now, right? And like so the Fast universe has this crazy mythology of different people coming from different places and all these different skills.
Having the deep lore.
Oh yes, the lore, your favorite word. John Wick, and so that's what I mean, and that's why companies are looking to adapt franchises, right? Because they have built-in mythology that's already built. You don't have to come up with it, if you're Marvel Comics, it's like, wow, we have decades of comic book stories that we can just there's not you don't have to do the sort of bespoke world building yourself, but when you do, it can be cool.
And it gives people something to come from too. Like it's a lot harder to take a chance on a character or a franchise you've never heard of than the 9th Fast and Furious movie, or the 10th, I guess.
It's like, you've proven that people will pay money for this, so.
It's hard for the viewer, and it's harder for like a studio and a director.
Jumping off what Beekman said about like the lore and the franchise, and I guess the franchise was what everyone was talking about too. But we also have to remember that like Fast and Furious 5, which was like at least how it was always pinned to me, of like sort of a make or break for the franchise, because the last 2 movies.
Fast 5 is also not like the same superhero adjacent genre that the rest are.
Yeah,
it's more of a heist movie, right?
But it's more of a heist movie. Also I was gonna bring this up because I wanted to like kind of go back on my superhero stuff, which I do think superhero movies influence it a lot more in the future, but like because I like the take of like it's the franchise and sort of like the continuity that matters a lot. And Fast 5 comes out in 2009, a year after Iron Man, and I can only assume that Fast 5
Fast 4 Fast and Furious came out.
Fast and Furious came out in 2000
with the ampersand.
And that was that movie simply accomplished was like, okay, we're bringing back the original cast who had had been absent from
the
most of the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Paul Walker is the only really returning character in Too Fast Too Furious, and then he's not even in Tokyo Drift. So.
Wait.
I mean, so Tokyo Drift has Han, who is who shows up later. Who
becomes a big part of the franchise, but
he isn't initially present.
That was not the plan. They were just like, we're making a new Fast and Furious movie. It's Justin Lin has.
I think Tokyo Drift is my favorite.
I love Tokyo Drift.
The fucking van always gets me.
People, that's how I decide someone's character. If they hate on Tokyo Drift, I'm like, nah, we can't.
No, it's so good.
I did really enjoy Tokyo Drift. I just think that the character stuff that they had in the first 2 movies was more concrete and like believable, or like there just existing in general than it was in Tokyo Drift. I did love the car stuff, and I love the change of pace. But like, I don't know.
I mean, Tokyo Drift uses that same like kind of sketch of a plot that's present in a lot of things, where like the main character just gets dropped into a new situation, and then they become some like prodigy or whatever.
Right.
Almost overnight.
Fish out of water kind of deal.
Yeah.
Main thing.
We all know that
it's really easy to get on board with.
Yeah.
They don't say Mia Familiar and then bust open a Corona.
They do at the end of the movie, though. They say that he was family. Yeah, they say he was Han's family.
Does he
I don't think there's any Corona
while saying it?
He does not pop open a Corona.
What's the problem?
Asahi Big Beer.
He takes a giant thing of Boss coffee and he cracks it open.
So hold on, I need to clarify something, and I think this also ties into another thing I've heard of about this series. theories is that the timeline is super fucking confusing. So, you explained to me, Beaks, that Fast 3 actually takes place after a bunch of the other Fast movies.
Yes.
And then
yes.
And so is it Fast 1 and 2 and then 4, 5 and 6 and then 3, or
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Fast 1, Fast 2, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
The events of Tokyo Drift, you'll see when we watch there, it all dovetails. And then 7, 8, 9 are all about after that.
I see.
The bullshit.
Okay.
Which was not the plan. I will emphasize that this is not
They
planned.
really shoehorned it in.
People like Han a lot. We should find a way to use him in these movies. Oh fuck! We eventually are going to have to confront the fact that we killed Han in the third movie.
All right, that's what I thought. I couldn't remember if Han died in the.
Oh, he very clearly died in 3.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, but look, I'm looking at the trailer for Fast 9 right now. Says Han does not die. That's
So I don't know. I have not seen Fast 9. I've not heard the explanation about why he is still alive. But in the other movies, they operate that he's dead. So.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Like the characters in the Fast 9 trailers are like, oh, holy shit, he's back. It's like, so it is supposed to be a thing for both of them, but.
I generally feel positive about that, but I can't really get into why, because Mercadante is not seen.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is stupid.
I mean,
he is in fact in Fast 9.
Yeah, that was the whole thing with the trailer. It's just like, oh shit, this guy who was dead.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Jack still exists.
I haven't seen the trailer. I didn't know about this.
Fast 9's real.
I'm just on Wikipedia.
Yeah. So like, I mean,
this.
if they're gonna pick somebody from Tokyo Drift, Han is definitely a good choice. Like the main, that was the thing I was knocking it for. Is at the end of the movie, I did not remember the main character's name. Like, I just
call him Lucas Black because that's the actor's name.
Yeah.
Like, Sean Boswell is that character's name.
Okay. But like,
the fucking idiot.
The fucking honky tonk Western boy.
Yeah.
Southern boy.
Yeah. Texan guy.
Cowboy.
Donkey Kong.
Cowboy.
The main character.
But yeah.
Drift.
Like DK, fucking Han.
No, 10-second race. You know that, right?
And Twinkie.
Yeah, they keep calling Lil Bow Wow's character. His nickname is Twinkie, but they keep calling the nickname Twinkie, and we're just dying.
You know one who owns all the shit?
No, he just has his own. Like, he just has a car. He has the Hulk car.
Yeah, he's the crazy Hulk car with like the fucking.
Oh yeah. That's
and the purple interior and the fucking Hulk eyebrow.
Yeah. It's all. It has like a fist in the back or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's got a fist all over it of like the Hulk. He's trying to break out. He's trying to break out. He's trying to break out of the car.
God.
My favorite thing about Fast and Furious is that you can consider the movie Better Luck Tomorrow about Asian American teenagers.
Canon.
Canon prequel.
Oh yeah. You were mentioning that.
That's a great movie.
Is actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say anyone watching, if you've not seen Better Luck Tomorrow, is very good.
Even if you don't like Fast and Furious, because it's
it's
not at all the same.
Yeah.
It's just a completely different movie that the director was just like, hey.
It's a different movie by the same director with the same guy who plays Han, playing Han.
Stun Kang, yeah.
Yeah, as like a teenager or a 20-year-old or something.
Yeah.
Funded in part by MC Hammer.
Incredible.
Wow, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the timeline on the official Fast and Furious wiki, of course. And it's hilarious that there's just an entire section called "Undetermined Years." The following are undetermined incidents in between the franchise, and so much of it, like there are like one or two things here and there, but most of them come from events of Too Fast, Too Furious Begins, and they're just like, I don't know when this happened. I guess sometime.
I mean, like,
it really doesn't matter.
It
just happens before.
Like, Fast and Furious was never meant to be like this long, sprawling franchise.
Right, which is again part of
the
like
crazy thing.
Yeah,
it was meant to be some movies about cars, and they're like, okay, we'll make a few sequels, and then like it was supposed to die after Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
The first one really feels like this is another crappy movie. We're just gonna put Vin Diesel.
Well, the first movie is just a remake of Point Break.
Yeah.
Essentially,
with cars.
With cars and some different characterization. Like Vin Diesel is not a psycho, like a sociopath, like Bodhi is in Point Break, but But yeah, it's essentially the same general plot of undercover law enforcement officer in sporting
sort of
subculture,
adrenaline.
Yeah, adrenaline pumping subculture. Grows to like the people in it, becomes conflicted. Yeah. Tale as old as time.
Did you know that Fast 5 and Cars 2 came out in the same year?
Yeah, one of those movies is good.
What a year.
And his name is Cars 2.
Cars 2.
And his name is Fast 5, motherfucker.
Oh my god. But that's like the point of it basically not there being no plan for it to really last beyond Tokyo Drift is like incredible in the sense of like you can compare it to a certain sci-fi trilogy that's come out in the past decade that also did not seem to have any cohesive plan. Despite probably should have had a plan, it did not, and then it completely fucking shit the bed. And then this series, which was flying by the seat of its pants for the whole fucking time, manages to carry on, like, into its own 9th movie.
I mean, I guess the difference is, like, Star Wars is a literal cultural just...
Yeah,
an incredibly important cultural moment in the history.
Fast and Furious isn't a genre-defining movie for anybody.
Yeah. I love the Fast and Furious movies. This is not to insult them. I loved it, but like the stakes were so much lower for the Fast and Furious follow-ups. This is like,
look, everyone remembers in A New Hope when Luke was stealing CD players from Uncle Owen's house.
Yeah.
And
he's driving the land speeder. He's got the neon green underglow.
Nobody's bitching about like the inconsistency in dates on someone's gravestone in Fast and Furious like they would if it were in Star Wars. Like nobody's mad about that.
Pull the wiki back up.
That's where I got that from.
Yeah.
Okay, just as a side note, Lul was asking if the shit video game Fast and Furious Crossroads is canon, and I'm trying to find out, and...
the short films are.
It looks like... Yeah, the short films I've heard are canon, and apparently so is the video game. So, really got a whole fucking thing going on.
Just to clarify, you say whatever so casually because you already know about everything related to that video game, I can assume.
I heard it was bad. I did not play it. I did not play it.
Well, you didn't play it because you wrote your own novelized version of the game.
Wow, they have a lot of
I to be to think I could have the fucking attention span to complete a novel. I really am flattered.
I mean, Jack, if you're looking...
Fast and Furious novel, what's gonna happen? Letty and Dom got into some trouble. Then they raced their cars, and then this really cool car showed up, and then the bad guys got stopped. The end.
Yay!
Now you have to. Now here's my Fast and Furious crossover fic with the world of Need for Speed Most Wanted, where Brian shows up, and then Razor Callahan from Need for Speed going around just another bolt-on Wonder Boy looking to get smoked. Oh, you want
Fast and Furious cars?
These are very deep cuts into Need for
Google
Speed lore.
Dominic Toretto.
Yeah,
Lightning McQueen.
Need for Speed Most Wanted is so much like, hey, we saw Fast and Furious. We would very much like to make a Fast and Furious video game, but we don't have the license to Fast and Furious, so we're just gonna do our own thing. Like, they got the whole like, it's like all those cheesy cutscenes are just straight aping Fast and Furious vibes. Like, that's the whole thing.
I mean, hey, if it ain't broke, right? I mean, that's literally how Fast and Furious started. It's like, don't break Point Break, just make Point Break with cars.
But now Need for Speed is broke, so...
I heard Heat was good. I heard Heat was okay.
Was he good? I don't know.
Yeah, I heard
I think Lul was saying it was good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean...
Proud to report, I cannot find any Fast and Furious Cars crossover fanfics.
I don't know. The only thing I remember about
like Disney's Cars crossover.
Yes, Disney's Cars.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly. Who could forget the amazing scene where Tow Mater has to tow Dominic Toretto's car?
After the crash at the end of the first movie, he's the one that's towing Dom's car from the scene of the wreck. Dom's original car. Oh man, well that would be crossover for the ages. No, okay, Lul, I have the right to video games. I'm not playing the shitty Fast and Furious video game on stream. I'm not going to do that.
Play Need for Speed Most Wanted on stream.
I will let you queue up. That you can queue up
on stream. That's a coward's move.
Nick also refuses to play the one game I keep suggesting.
Which one is it? Is it fucking
It's Honey Cat. Yeah.
I literally can't play that. You know what will happen if I play that? I will get banned.
Just do it on Plexstorm Order.
Coward.
I'm not gonna start up a Plexstorm.
Won't use his white privilege to take a bullet for others, coward.
This could be genre changing, Nick. Think of how monumental this moment could be.
No.
Yeah.
Can't believe I haven't been getting channel points all along.
You need to just sit in the channel while we're streaming.
I was simply not logged in.
Wow. Fool.
How are you not logged into your...
Yeah, also,
I never use Twitch.
Out of their accounts.
I don't know.
Also, like, Brandon Chu has been fucking dedicated for this Final Fantasy shit. Like, he is just on time. And I think he just sets out time for it at this point. Like, he's just there every stream, and I respect it. And he's farming those channel points, and he's never gonna have as much as Tori has, but he sure as hell can try. But yeah.
Oh, I'm not subscribed.
Wow. Fucking OG Horsin Around member, not even subbing.
Because I never use Twitch, Nick.
Unbelievable. What a fool. What else are you have Prime though, and you don't use it. If you're not using Twitch for anything else, you could just, you know.
He's more of a YouTube gaming guy.
I see. You know, I think I'm at heart really a Facebook gaming guy, but to each their own.
More of an Ouya gaming guy.
I don't get Facebook gaming ads anymore.
I
they used to just pop up some random streams for me every once in a while. I don't get them anymore.
It's almost like Facebook's a bad platform and no one went to go watch gaming.
Understandable.
If you click on the gaming tab on like the sidebar,
I have never once clicked on the gaming tab.
But if
I'm gonna do it right now.
If you do that, they should have streams there. I believe they show like the categories like Twitch has.
More of a lively gaming guy.
These are all bad. Am I really gonna watch a Trivia Crack stream?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is streaming Uno? Oh,
hey,
you can
don't
play
fuck with Uno.
Uno.
Don't fuck around with Uno. Uno's great. All right. Don't be shitting on Uno. Uno literally fucking OG Achievement Hunter days. They made Uno the movie, one of the best feature.
That was like 2 years ago.
No, Jack, you need to.
When was Uno the movie?
How
Uno the
dare
movie
you
was
like 2016.
Acting like you know more about Achievement Hunter.
Uno the movie was 2016.
Yeah, it was 2016. That's not OG Achievement Hunter days. First of all,
5 years ago.
Jeremy is in that movie.
Jacob, the Rooster Teeth stands are fighting.
Well, look, I have to goat them on. It's the only entertainment I get during the week.
Shut up! Oh my god. I've been watching a lot of Ray streams recently.
All your favorite things imploded.
They still look. Ruby is still good, and
is it?
Yes.
Is it? Good?
I am going to argue.
Nick, I'd like to say I was not the first one to say.
Yeah, I know. I know that I am going to be the odd one out here. I know that I'm going to be the one that defends Ruby, but hey, I like it. It's a fun show.
I really don't think it's good anymore.
Okay.
Or really that it was ever.
Okay.
Hold on, Nick, I've got some breaking news. My roommate has just texted me after me shouting, and he says no one knows more about Achievement Hunter than me. That's just a logical fact. So sorry. Looks like
I'm not even gonna hold that I know that much about Achievement Hunter. I don't really watch them anymore. I watch Funhouse. I think Funhouse is still fun despite losing most of their fucking.
Back in my day, Rooster Teeth, you ordered the DVD and it had Red vs. Blue on it, and all this other shit happened.
I watch Let's Play content on YouTube because it's perfect to fall asleep to.
Back in my day, you showed up at Comic-Con and they were selling Red vs. Blue DVDs out of a fucking suitcase, alright? And that's what you got.
That's so sad. I'm so sorry for you.
Guys, I deleted the channels we like are gone now stream topic from the list. We can't do it.
I don't know. My channel's still here.
Rooster Teeth is somehow not gone yet.
No, I mean they're
despite everything.
Despite everything, they still exist. Yeah. No, I think they've got like, I don't know. They realize. I think they are also pretty decent at adapting, and they are reaching out to content creators in a collaboration sense, so that they
my despite everything was in reference to the numerous scandals.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Like, they definitely could have gone under. Like, that could have been a domino effect of shit that sent them under. But I think they've I don't know how you personally would handle a situation like that if that was your company, but I think they handled it to the best of their ability, and they've, tried to distance themselves as much as humanly possible, and I think...
additionally, their problem is sorry for jumping in.
Yeah, you're fine.
An additional problem is that they're owned by Otter Media, which is owned by Warner Brothers, which is owned by Warner Media, which is owned by AT&T, who wants to blow up Warner Media.
Right, but now they should be going to Discovery, which might be better to them than Time Warner.
The answer is they're being put with Discovery, so AT&T can be like, "Hey guys, remember when we bought all those media companies? It turns out our phone company isn't very good at media. Can someone take these from us? I don't think they're. I don't know."
Right, but I'm just saying, if they get sold off to Discovery, that might not be a bad thing for them.
Well, they're not. It wouldn't be a sold. Warner and Discovery are being merged into a single product.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh. Yes.
Okay. Well, in any case, yeah, I think that's doing all right, and I think like they're doing. I've just noticed that a lot of their game streaming stuff is like collaborating with people that aren't part of the company, but they do these collabs together, and I think that is... They understand that it's not a matter of like trying to hoard all of the talent, it's just a matter of featuring people and working together with other groups that are well known, and from that you can get, better average viewership by even just like getting one stream with somebody popular that's outside of your typical roster. Getting those people to like be introduced to the company is like a good way to bring in a new audience. So I think
crossover well.
Yeah, like I guess
that's why I post all of my content on machinima.com.
What I'm saying is like
that their wide range of network connections would allow me to get my videos viewed by a wider audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There'd be no downside at any point for me.
We could spend no
terrible contracts involved here.
No terrible contracts. God, there could be...
they should be taken as a joke. I don't want anyone coming back to me like, sir, in 2021, you said that Machinima and Rooster Teeth were just as bad, which I know they're not.
No, yeah.
But also, like, I don't know. I think we've also learned, especially with the rise of more, like, I don't know. I've thought about this a lot, where like there are a lot of independents, and there are also a lot of independents who are forming
studios,
media companies,
groups. Yeah,
but also, I think Rooster Teeth is almost like it's part of the growing pains of the internet, where Rooster Teeth was one of those first big ventures of like, hey, we made like a company and it's big.
Yeah.
And the growing pains is that when you make a company and it gets big, someone wants to buy you, so they don't have to do any of the work of setting up their own shit. So they buy you, and then you go, hey, this is great. Now we have the protection of a large company. And then you go, oh wait, now we have the protection of a large company. Oh no. I mean, you see this a lot in watch out. Jacob's about to fucking out himself. You've seen this a lot in like the VTuber community recently, with like establishments of smaller groups as companies.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is like you sort of have like several different models, and it seems like the model a lot of people are trending towards is remaining independent, or if you're not going to be independent, you're literally just joining a group of other people for the tax benefit of saying we have a business together.
Right.
Like those are the main two options.
I mean, on Growing Pains too, you see more, not even from the business side, but from like the personal side of kind of random people who are suddenly elevated to celebrity status within a small community or even a large community.
Yeah,
it is because we've gotten the internet has allowed us to become very efficient at commodifying everything, and we've currently reached the stage of commodifying people's existence and personality.
Woo! Parasocial relationships, baby.
And
we did it, boys.
So it kind of goes back to the topic I removed, but it's like, what do companies do when they lose big talent? I don't know. The answer is it's just going to happen. They can't do anything about. I mean, Jacob's about to out himself again. There's a scene in Moneyball. There's a scene in Moneyball where Brad Pitt's character just lost one of his biggest players, and like an actual like pull-in for the team. Yeah. And they were like, "How do we fix this? Because we don't have the money to fix this. We can't afford to pay to replace this person with someone equally as now famous as them. Yeah. How do we solve this?" And the Moneyball answer is, you just find people in the aggregate. You don't try and replace that person you just lost, because you can't do that. And I think this is actually like a problem that some media companies have run into, of like, they're not developing the talent because they just assume like, oh, well, we got this talent tied up, it's fine. Right. But then that talent can leave and join free agency and go, somewhere else. And then they're just like, well, I guess that's over. And then they don't spend any of the investment in order to, find
they just let it flop.
Way to improve it. No. They kind of just let it flop. And the real answer is, in the aggregate, is once again, I'm going to go back to the Jacob outs himself as a fucking VTuber simp. like how a large company like Hololive does it is that they're like, we literally just like span the field.
Yeah, you play the field.
It's you get a wide group, and eventually one of those is gonna pop off. Now for them, they lucked out, and literally all of them popped off at the same fucking time.
Yeah.
But like, that's the thing, is like, you just gotta like you gotta
be flexible.
Company,
you have to be very flexible.
Talent. You have to be flexible. I'm gonna relate to another thing because I'm a fucking analogy goddamn machine.
Damn, a god.
It's the entry level job problem.
Yeah.
These companies go, we want you to have 5 years experience.
Game companies, baby.
You have to have 5 years experience, and you need to be already successful. And the answer is, hey dog, hey man, you just gotta like actually put in the effort and literally like interview all these fucking shit ton of people. And you gotta go like hunt down talent. Yeah. Like,
you have to seek it out.
There's a reason sports have scouting departments. It's because they literally, their entire job is literally go
seeing to potential.
Literally go to the middle of the country and just, if someone is good at playing Billy Bean baseball, go find Billy Bean. Like,
find him, the sacred one. Yeah, and I think, like, just looping back around, like, when Funhouse lost a lot of its core talent, like, most of the people that came from the Inside Gaming days
right after one another.
Right, yeah, like, back to back, Bruce, Lawrence, Adam due to Scandal, and then, like, even so the people that started to replace them, like John Smith, he's now a free agent, he's doing, like, digital nomad shit.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, and he's doing really well, it seems like he's having a good time. But basically it's just like, oh, and even before that, Jesus, like, back in the beginning, Spool and, Joel, they left, like, pretty early on.
I mean, now you can't call it back-to-back, because
Right, but yeah. The, pretty much it's just Elise and James, I think, that are, like... And then Elise was from Giant Bomb, right? Was it Giant Bomb or
no? I don't know.
It was some other, group. But then she joined it a little later. But so basically it's just them, but then they still are just bringing in new people that are filling the gaps, and they are not trying to be, like Lawrence or whoever. But they're just being their own personalities. And
Oh yeah.
That was when that closed down, that was a pretty big deal. But yeah, so they're just getting their new talent, and they're seeing what sticks. And I think the people they've brought on since then are great. Charlotte, who's been on,
Charlotte funny.
Charlotte was on an episode of just the regular Rooster Teeth podcast recently, and like, her and whoever the other guest was, which was a person I didn't recognize, but that's like another example of them just sort of collabing with friends that they know. They were just popping off like the whole show. They were fucking hilarious. And so, like, she's been great, and been sort of after Inside Gaming stopped, so like they basically ended the show. They still do roundups on the YouTube channel. That's just like a week's worth of coverage, just like rattled off really quickly. But they might be bringing it back. But seeing her go from that into more Funhouse content and then just Rooster Teeth content in general has been really cool to watch. And I think that's just reflective. That strategy is like definitely the way to go, and I'm glad that they landed on that instead of seeing all of these people leave. Probably the OG example is like Ray leaving and starting up his Twitch endeavors, which have paid off really well for him. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, that was like the death of the old achievement hunter, that was like the death of it. But I think they're still doing pretty. I don't particularly like watching much of their stuff these days, but they still bring in tons of views. So like the new cast is interesting and funny. Fiona, sorry.
No, you're good. I just want to build off of that. Not to jump in, but like, I think I also wanted to like add like, especially with you bringing up Ray, like, I don't know, change happens, and also usually for the most part it's good. I know that some of the Giant Bomb people are now doing their own thing, and apparently their like stuff got very popular.
Yes, they suddenly had 12K Patreons on Patreon.
It was fucking crazy.
God.
Jesus.
Yeah,
and like it's like, I don't know. One of the classic examples in my mind is when Game Informer fucking imploded because of the GameStop layoffs, and then like some of those guys went off and formed MinMax, and I'm like, I fucking love MinMax. I've like it's like it sucks when your favorite person, like your favorite personality, leaves the company that you associate them with, but also like, I don't know. I think it's also a chance for people to be like, yo, don't blame, like, unless like someone did actually something bad, like just assume that like sometimes people just want to have a change.
Sometimes people just don't like their job.
People do not need to jump to the worst conclusions.
Which seems
possible.
to be literally what happened with the Giant Bomb situation of those guys putting off. They're just like, hey, we're just not, and I'm sure it accelerated by the pandemic of like forcing them, especially in the way Giant Bomb does their content, out of their sort of pattern and comfort zone. So they're just like, maybe where I want to be isn't in this specific track anymore. And so they
and it's definitely not a decision to be made lightly, especially in the case of Giant Bomb just shutting down, because that's people's livelihoods. But if it's like a decision that the company and like the employees can come to agreement on.
Well, I mean, Giant Bomb still exists. It's just a number of people from it are gone, and Giant Bomb was has already sort of clarified their plans about they're going to go to a sort of working with outside people and sort of producing sort of essentially shows and smaller runs. Like they've said they're going to collaborate with Dan Reichert, who doesn't even work specifically in games media anymore. He makes podcasts for the WWE and streams on Twitch on the sides, but they're going to bring him in to do stuff on the side. And they've had other people. They've had Danny O'Dwyer, who runs the No Clip video game documentary YouTube channel, who does fantastic stuff, but he's been, he's got a permanent spot on their podcast now and stuff like that. So yeah, change happens. And like, I went through like, everyone gets where, like, I went through the early version of this in 2007 when they fired Jeff Gertzman from GameSpot because that was a weird case of like, again, as we talk about like the pressures of being under a parent company and stuff. It's like they had got recently changed management to the company that owned CNET at the time, and they had a different view of the way editorial and advertising were supposed to coexist, and that was different from the idea that Jeff had, which is, there's a Chinese wall between these two. Like, we can say whatever we want editorially about a game. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if IDOS has paid for you to skin the GameSpot homepage in 3 different Kane and Lynch skins.
Kane and Lynch was dog shit.
The game bad. And so and that led to that and an exodus of a lot of the people who were associated with sort of that early era of GameSpot from the late 90s to the mid 2000s to do other stuff. And then of course Giant Bomb forms from that, and that's been a crazy thing. And again, it's just like, especially in internet media, nothing lasts forever. The Giant Bomb, they're still continuing on, but even if it's just hadn't, if they just closed or shop or ended up well, it would have been like, wow, they had been doing great stuff since 2008. They'd put out a ton of incredibly awesome content that meant a lot to a lot of people. And so, it's as part as you get older, I think it's stuff you just sort of understand as with stuff changing in your own life. You understand how people's priorities change, and like, hey, something has to come to end. Better it ends at the right time than ending because everyone involved in it is burned out and like or some horrible thing happens between the people involved. Like, better things work part amicably than violently, shall we say.
The idea and like the memories of the experiences that were generated by like the older forms of these companies and these groups or whatever, it doesn't outweigh the importance of maintaining the well-being of the people working there and the individuals trying to live their best lives, because that's what everybody wants to do.
Yeah,
so
and stuff changes. Like when Austin Walker, because he was a quarterback I was not super familiar with. I'd read a few of his articles, but I was not familiar with like his large output until he came to Giant Bomb. But he was not there for very long. He was there for maybe just over a year, and then because then he got offered the gig to like start the Waypoint Vertical Advice and be the editor-in-chief and be making the decisions, which is like a huge opportunity that pass up. And like, they started Waypoint, which was cool, and there was a bunch of other cool people who worked there, some of whom I'm familiar with and some I was not, and I got exposed to their stuff and their podcasts and their expanded, universe of stuff. So it's like, I think it's just easy. It's always sad because everyone gets attached to their likes their comfortable thing of this group of people doing this stuff. It's like, oh, nostalgic. But, and also I think in the case of Giant Bomb, that stuff sometimes forcibly happened because like, the website became different after Ryan Davis died, who was a founder of Giant Bomb and a guy who I had seen at GameSpot and who had, in some weird form or another, when he passed away in 2013, I realized like I've been hearing this dude speak in my ear holes every week for about a decade. And now obviously he's passed away and he's gone. So,
Yeah, the change is hard to accept sometimes, but it's always.
But it's almost always good.
Yeah,
it's always good.
Almost always opening new doors.
New stuff. And so.
Yeah, I think I mean, I think we already hit on it, but that's why I added it to the topic sheet of just like the existentialism of all of it, where you're just like, I don't know. I think watch out, pop disclaimer. Like, I don't know. There's an aspect to it of like, oh shit, this thing is changing, and that means time has passed.
Right. Yeah.
And that means I am changing, and it's like, yeah, dude, like just go with the flow. Like just I don't know. It's one of those things
up how time works.
The simple fear of something that you've become attached to, and it's become almost.
It's very human to be scared of that.
Almost just a guarantee in your life. Like it's like, oh yeah. Vinny, Brad,
or even like for some people, part of your identity.
Vinny, Brad, Jeff Gertzman, those guys are always gonna be together. They're always gonna be making stuff. They're always gonna be in Bombcast. That's always gonna be a thing. Alex of and then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
No, but
Cow Chop.
Yeah, that was a big bummer. They did good stuff, but again, the
I wouldn't say that.
Okay, well, it was fun.
They made funny content.
They made funny content, but
there was nothing good about it.
The main guy was legitimately getting injured, and he was like, "I can't do this anymore physically." Like, and that's fine. That's fair. You just gotta cut things off at a certain point. And yeah, I didn't. For some reason, I thought I was just getting rid of one of your points, but I got rid of both of them, Jacob. But yeah, you had the Matt and Pat thing on there, and that's perfectly tied into all.
Yeah,
of this.
like that's probably up there. I mean, like, look, I've already had myself as a VTuber, so like the reason this existential crisis came to me is like,
wait, you're
recently,
a VTuber?
Oh my
no,
God. I don't know why I put him on here, guys.
YouTuber
I mean, technically I am, because when I stream, I do not show my face, and I do use an avatar instead to express myself. So
what the fuck? I need to watch your streams, dude.
Yeah, you cowards.
Sorry.
I didn't know you were streaming. You gotta send me a link.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. I literally didn't tell anyone because I have extreme anxiety. I mean, once again, this could go into, look, we're already passing the hour point soon, so I'm just gonna like not try and
just shove it off before the cutoff point.
There's a whole host of anxiety besides not telling anyone that I've streamed anything. Yeah, like, so recently a very large VTuber who I didn't watch, like, she wasn't at like when I watched all the time, but it was one I would like consistently watch. Like, she would have a weekly show that I watched, you know, basically every week. And she recently was like, hey guys, like, I'm like quitting. And I was like, oof, wow, why do I feel this way? And then I was like, when was the last time I felt this way? And then I like had the fucking, you know, flashback of like, you know, the Ratatouille sitting at the table and just watching Wooly's face as he's like, hey guys, Matt and Pat aren't friends anymore. And you're just like, oh no. And it was just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, that's right, I've been through this before, so I'm going to be fine. So that I kind of like figured that out. But it was also sort of like an existentialism of like, if we are going to continue the like, it's kind of like with this, excuse me, with like celebrity, like if we're going to continue to be able to commodify like a person's existence, like I don't know, I don't know if you guys know this, but statistically there will be a point where that will end.
Wow, what? No, I'm gonna live forever, Jacob. Fuck off. I'll live for all time.
And it was just one of those things where it's like, I don't know, like coming to that like realization, like again of like, oh yeah, like everything has like an expiration point on it, but like
enjoy it while it lasts.
We can don't yeah, just enjoy it while it lasts. Like, I mean, the one nice thing about this like her quitting was like, she was like, hey, I'm leaving in like July 1st, so there was like an actual date of like, hey, this is when this ends, which is a lot nicer than like the Matt and Pat shit where like you're just like, oh boy, can't wait to see my two best friends play another day. What's this? What does Wooly look like then? Is this like some kind of joke? And then you're like, ah, shit. Oh no.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was one of those things, and I think it was also like an existential thing of like, hey man, if that happens to like media you like I think also like, especially in this day and age, even though I think it's a horrific hellscape about what I'm about to say, but like companies have done a very good job of tricking us into thinking that things will last forever. And like
Fast 9, Fast 10, Fast Forever.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they already said there's only 11 movies.
Damn. Well, I gotta process that now at least. So let me know.
These small microcosms. I mean, but even besides that, of like, well, at least there'll still be like the fast. Like, this is like a no. When this is over, this is like because you know, especially with something like, you know, VTuber relating to a company, like that company owns the character. Like when it's done, it's like done.
Right.
And also, interesting enough, it's like one of these things where like the company's smart enough where they're like, it goes back to the conversation we had before. Like they know like you can't get away with like putting someone else in that character because it's also like their voice and personality comes through. Like you can't just fucking replicate that.
Yeah.
So like when it's done, it's done. And I don't know, it was one of these things where I just had like an existential like, oh shit, things come to an end. But then like oh shit, I as a human being I've advanced enough where I'm able to be like, yeah they do, but like I don't know. Then I went and watched then I watched fucking Pat play Mass Effect 2 and I'm like, ah yes, here we go, the good stuff. And it's like that doesn't exist without like that happening. Like,
yeah,
eventually they'll go on and like, you know, you'll find other things, and if they don't want to be in media, then they just don't want to be in media anymore. Like, and that's also fine. Like it'll eventually happen. And like, I don't know, I think it was sorry to continue, I just want to make this one last point because I have like I'm in information flowing out of my brain mode, and my
keep it going,
ability to assess social cues is gone. But like I don't know, it was also part of this thing of like, hey man, if everything's gonna come to an end, like, hey, like if you have like something you want to do, like
fucking do it.
Like, I understand just saying just do it is harder said than done. I know I'm a king at not doing the things my brain says, hey, this would be cool to do. But also like if it's like a small thing, like just try it out.
Yeah, and I think
even
that's,
if you can't do it.
You know, at the on the fucking silver lining of this horrible quarantine, I think it has given a lot of people the time to introspect somewhat. Given a decent number of people the time to introspect and be like, what do I want to do with
no,
this
Nick,
time?
if they introspect, they won't go back to the workforce and get paid $7 an hour.
Fuck!
A living wage.
Stop self-actualizing over there, you bastard.
Damn it. All right. Yeah, I think this was a very good conversation, and we could probably go on further. But we have gone over an hour, so I think we can cap it there. And yeah, so thank you guys for joining me. This was a lovely conversation. Hope we can do it again sometime. And until next time, thank you guys for watching. Stay safe out there. And peace out.
Peace.